3 years, 2 wins, 1 historic Talladega breakthrough, and it still wasn't enough to save the partnership. Bubba Wallace's crew chief is gone, and the man himself just admitted on the record that he never saw it coming. This is the story of how a winning relationship at 23XI Racing quietly fell apart, and why the fallout is more about NASCAR's brutal business side than anything that happened on the track. Bootie Barker spent 3 seasons on top of the pit box for Bubba Wallace's number 23 car. In that stretch, they combined for 2 Cup Series wins, including 23XI Racing's first ever victory at Talladega. Add 33 top 10 finishes in a single playoff berth, and on paper, that's a respectable run. But in October, 23XI Racing pulled the plug. Barker was reassigned to a competition leadership role. Charles Denike, fresh off success in the Truck Series, was installed as Wallace's new crew chief for 2025. Here's the piece that makes this decision sting. 2024 was actually Wallace's most consistent season behind the wheel, and the team still missed the playoffs. No wins, no shot at the postseason bracket. In a sport built entirely around late season results, consistency without a checkered flag doesn't buy you loyalty. It buys you a roster change. That's the brutal math of NASCAR at the Cup Series level. You can be steady, you can be improving. If the trophy case doesn't fill up, ownership starts asking hard questions. And then there's the ending nobody planned for. NASCAR ruled that Wallace slowed down late in the Martinsville race in a way that benefited fellow Toyota driver Christopher Bell. The penalty was serious, a points deduction, a fine, and suspensions that knocked Barker, spotter Freddie Kraft, and executive Dave Rogers out of the Phoenix season finale. Think about that. Barker's final race as Wallace's crew chief, and he wasn't even allowed to be there for it. Let's break down what's actually happening beneath the surface here, because this isn't a random shakeup. First, teams almost never let a crew chief control his own exit. Barker basically confirmed this himself, saying that a crew chief rarely gets to set his own timetable. That's not bitterness. That's just how the sport works. Ownership drives the timeline, not the person calling strategy on the box. Second, 23XI Racing didn't cut Barker loose. They moved him internally. That's a telling detail. If the organization genuinely believed his instincts had gone stale, they wouldn't have kept him in a leadership seat. This reads less like a firing and more like a strategic reset, pairing Wallace with a different voice while still leaning on Barker's experience elsewhere in the building. Third, the timing with Corey Heim can't be ignored. Just months after the Wallace split, Barker was building a new pairing with a rising development driver. That's not a coincidence. That's an organization identifying where a veteran crew chief's skill set fits best for the next phase of the team's growth. Is this smart or risky? Honestly, both. Breaking up a group with 2 wins and real chemistry is a gamble. But NASCAR history is full of teams that stayed loyal too long and paid for it competitively. 23XI Racing chose disruption over comfort. The early returns, a Cup Series win for Heim and a Brickyard 400 victory, suggest the gamble is paying off, at least in the short term. Fans are split, and both sides have a point. One camp sees a driver-crew chief bond with real trust and real results getting broken up too soon, especially with Wallace himself calling Barker one of his closest friends in the sport. The other camp points straight at the stat sheet: no wins, no playoffs in a season that was supposed to be a step forward. In Cup Series racing, sentiment doesn't keep sponsors happy, performance does. Add the Martinsville Penalty into the mix, and the emotional exit becomes even messier, a friendship-driven goodbye tangled up with a suspension nobody wanted. Best case, Charles Denike clicks quickly with Wallace, the number 23 car returns to the playoff picture in 2025, and Barker's continued success with Heim turns into a full-time championship-caliber pairing once Heim moves up in 2027. 23X Racing ends up looking like the organization that made 2 smart bets at once. Worst case, the chemistry Wallace built over 3 years doesn't transfer to a new crew chief, the number crew, and 23 team stalls out again, and the front office faces pressure to explain why they broke up a group that was actually trending in the right direction. So here's the real question. Did 23XI Racing make a smart, forward-thinking move, or did they panic and break up something that just needed one more season to peak? Drop your take in the comments. Was this the right call or a mistake the team will regret? If you want more no-nonsense NASCAR breakdowns like this one, make sure you're subscribed, Pete, because this Cup Series silly season is just getting started.